In this video, we are not only going to talk about the death of the great radio personality, but we must also touch on the innovative campaigns of Johnnie Walker and his presentation of the famous Johnnie Walker brand and its history, with a focus on its early adoption of radio advertising. How Johnnie Walker campaigns played on the unique qualities of radio, using sound effects and storytelling to engage listeners. And how radio has influenced brand building, highlighting how Johnnie Walker's radio presence has helped establish a lasting legacy. To illustrate this in detail, we will present some questions and responses that may serve as a way to get inside the personality of the great late and perhaps can lead to lessons learned for future generations. What was his journey from humble beginnings to a famous personality? He began his career as a DJ at the age of 21, when he was given the opportunity for the first time to play records on the Radio England boat, Swinging, a boat moored 4 miles off the coast of Essex. In return, they asked him to change his name, from Peter Dingley to the rock and roll leaning Johnnie Walker. The boat was one of a number of floating stations that exploited a loophole in the law that allowed them to circumvent the BBC's monopoly on the UK airwaves to bring the sound of 1960s pop to the country's radio stations, something the BBC had largely resisted up until that point. How rebellious was he? Walker embraced the spirit of rebellion. His years at public school had fostered a hatred of authority, and he had done his best to fail his GCSEs. Radio allowed him to embrace his passion, music, especially rock, soul and the underground sounds that hadn't made it to the top of the singles chart. How did he become a symbol of the pirate spirit? When Walker moved to the pirate mothership, Radio Caroline, his style was calm and conversational, in contrast to the elegant, highly orchestrated chatter of many of the other DJs. Perhaps this had something to do with his preferred means of relaxation on board. He even had an on-air code. He said the ship was running low on tea to indicate that his favorite brand of herbal cigarettes had run out. His time on board also coincided with the government's decision to crack down on pirates. Walker was on air at midnight on the 14th of August 1967, when the law making pirates illegal came into effect. He read a defiant speech declaring, "We belong to you and we love you." His reputation as a symbol of the pirate spirit was confirmed. How did he return to the UK, unemployed? Having parted ways with Radio 1 after describing the Bay City Rollers as musical rubbish, he decided to leave for the freedom of American radio. He had his ups and downs. San Francisco's KSAN, with its relaxed shortwave rock playlist, seemed a perfect fit until punk music came along. It wasn't to the manager's taste and Walker soon began looking for work elsewhere. His side hobby of sending pre-recorded shows to Radio Luxembourg ended when he played a recording at the wrong speed. By the early 1980s, he was back in the UK and unemployed. How did he go from failure to OB? His return to the UK airwaves included a stint on independent local radio before returning to the BBC. He failed again at the BBC after saying there would be dancing in the streets when Margaret Thatcher resigned as Prime Minister in 1991. But despite the setbacks, he eventually found a home at Radio 2. However, that almost came to an end when the infamous fake shake in the News of the World exposed his drug habit in 1999. He said it was the worst he had ever been. But after a trip to rehab, a £2,000 fine and a promise that he had changed his behavior, he was allowed back to Radio 2. He was even awarded an OB. Did his obsessive interest in music pay off? Yes, the music that the presidents had been against in the 70s was now classic rock and he had a loyal fanbase who recognized him as one of their own. He was now the authentic voice of the 70s. He presented the show of the same name, The Rock Show, on Radio 2. What legacy did the late great leave to artists and music? He would set aside time slots for sounds of the 70s and The Rock Show, sharing his memories and personal stories every week. He loved radio and inspired a generation of broadcasters, passionately promoting the artists and music he cared about, and quickly gained fame for his personality and deep connection to music. Over the decades, Walker not only entertained millions, but also influenced younger radio presenters who admired his passion and storytelling. Helen Thomas, head of Radio 2, said his two flagship shows, Sounds of the 70s and The Rock Show, were time slots to listen to, because of Walker's influence. She added, he inspired a generation of radio presenters, and passionately promoted the artists and music he cared deeply about. Johnny's sarcastic sense of humor and warm, open-hearted style of presentation ensured that his audience loved him. The airwaves will never be the same again. He remained his charming, fun-loving self until the end. What a strong and amazing man he was, said Walker's wife, DJ Walker. It was a roller coaster ride from start to finish. Here we must send a message of tribute to the late actor's everlasting presence in the hearts of his fans. Their humility, work ethic, and dedication will always be remembered. The challenges and successes that defined their journey. We must encourage them to continue learning and engaging with their work. And to be grateful for the legend's influence and contributions. Finally, we must highlight the most important lessons learned from the journey of the great artist. In order to achieve success, you must face challenges and difficulties no matter the circumstances. You may move from one place to another and face troubles, but in the end, you will find the way. Achieving glory and reaching the goal is not easy with perseverance, determination. Finally, if you liked the video, please support by liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel.